Hi there, this is Jonathan Ginsberg. I'd like to talk to you about wage garnishment in Georgia. And basically, wage garnishment happens when a judgment creditor, goes to court, gets a judgment against you, then takes that judgment to the sheriff and gets what's called a FIFE and serves that upon your employer. And basically what they serve on the employer is something called a summons of a continuing garnishment, which allows them to demand that the employer withhold 25% of your disposable earnings to be sent to that creditor. And disposable earnings are basically what is left over after all withholdings required by law. So obviously taxes are going to be required by law, but after tax earnings are going to be disposable. And the judgment creditor can grab 25% of that per paycheck. So basically, if you are under summons of garnishment, every time you get paid, 25% of that pay is going to get seized. Which is obviously not a very good thing. Now, if you have multiple judgments against you, the first in line gets the 25%. They don't split it, and you don't get 50% taken. It's only going to be 25%. But as you can see, that can be pretty significant if that's what you're relying upon to survive. Now, there are some exceptions. If depending on how much you earn, if you're at a certain percentage of the poverty level, it might be less than 25%. But basically, that's what it's going to be. And obviously, there are other things like Social Security that they cannot garnish. But for the most part, if it's regular pay, they can garnish it. They can also, a judgment creditor can levy on your bank account, and they can grab whatever's in that bank account. Again, assuming it's not Social Security money. So if you have $10,000 in the bank, they can grab all of that. So again, it's really, really dangerous when you have a judgment against you not to take some sort of an action. And I tell my clients that sometimes, I hear these stories about they don't remember getting sued, and then, oh, by the way, yeah, I guess I do sort of remember somebody handing me some paperwork where I just stuck it in the drawer. Not a good move. If you get sued, if a sheriff or process server comes to your door and hands you papers, that's when you need to get on the phone, call a lawyer, and say, what does this mean? What should I do? Because as a practical matter, if you were sued, nothing really happens after the lawsuit. You don't get any kind of notices or anything like that if you don't take any action. So 3, 4, 5 months could go by and you think, well, they just forgot about it, when in fact it's kind of winding its way through the court system, and then eventually it becomes a judgment, which again can make your wages subject to garnishment. Now, bankruptcy, either Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, can stop that garnishment, and we can also use the bankruptcy in many cases to avoid the judgment lien, make it go away. But again, getting your money back after it's been seized can be more difficult than preventing it from being grabbed in the first place. So if you get wind or any kind of whiff that there's a judgment coming down against you, it's worth talking to a lawyer. Let's figure out what we can do and how to stop it, at least so what your options are, so that you don't wake up one day and look at your paycheck and discover that 25% of your pay has been grabbed by a creditor, and then you start looking for solutions then. That's not the time to start looking. The time is to do it much earlier, before all this bad stuff happens. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. Again, this is Jonathan Ginsberg. Any questions about wage garnishment or bankruptcy in Georgia, please let me know. Thanks a lot.